The Honourable, the member for Conception Bay South.
Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, I've got a prepared text that's going to take me almost into my 20 minutes, and I can't get involved in this diatribe that we've heard in the last little while. Mr. Speaker, it is my humble honour to stand before you and my colleagues today on both sides of the legislature as a newly elected member of the District of Conception Bay South. Today I'll speak to you under three broad headings: my background, the District of Conception Bay South, and something that I call our place in history. I grew up, I attended school and raised a family in the district that I now represent. However, I was born in a tiny community called Maiden Speech. If it still existed, it would be in the current district of Fortune Bay, Cape Lahoon. However, under the government's resettlement program of the 1960s, we packed our bags, left our home, and moved to what is now the town of Conception Bay South. We all remember experiences that we had as a child, but like those others who were resettled at the time, I can draw a line through January 1964, knowing that what I remember prior to that line occurred in Maiden Speech, in one of the most isolated regions of the province. Whereas what I remember after January 1964 occurred in Conception Bay South, a suburban environment and one of the province's most progressive towns. Mr. Speaker, some of my colleagues, those representing our more rural districts, see me as a townie, whereas some of my St. John's colleagues see me as a bayman. I like to keep them guessing, but I feel that I do have a personal perspective on both rural and urban Newfoundland and Labrador. I grew up in a traditional home with my dad out to work and my mother a stay-at-home mom. There were 5 children, 4 boys and a girl. Dad was at sea for long stretches of time, so I understand the social impact today of parents commuting out west. My wife is the former Diane Bussey of Placentia. We've been married for 36 years, and she's the one who keeps me grounded and keeps me from becoming starstruck when I tell her about the famous people I meet. You know, MHAs, cabinet ministers, and of course the Premier. She tells me, don't let my head swell just because I know the Premier. Our son John is an audiologist with Eastern Health. He's played a big part in getting me to this honourable house. John is an athlete and understands and enjoys the gamesmanship of politics. When he was a child, I'd take him to the gym where I'd be playing ball. In the extra tense timeouts, he would look up at me and say, "Dad, that big vein is puffed out on the side of your head." Several weeks ago, right after we'd won the by-election, and I was speaking to my supporters, he bent down and he said, "Dad, that big vein is puffed out on the side of your head." My mom passed away in 1991. Her name was Hannah. My dad's name was John. He's still healthy and hearty. He's proud of all his children. He doesn't say so very much, but I'm pretty sure he is. He and his buddies put my signs together during the by-election. It became a real social occasion, which slowed us down significantly in getting the signs out. As a youngster, I spent my time chasing, throwing, shooting, kicking, and hitting balls. If a ball moved in Conception Bay South, I knew about it. In fact, that wasn't only as a youngster, but also as a teenager and an adult. Having reached the national level in my chosen sport, some would say that I wasn't a half-bad athlete. But today, Mr. Speaker, as you may understand, I feel the resulting aches and pains. It was this love of sport and fitness that led me to my chosen career. I completed my bachelor's degrees in physical education and education from Memorial University in 1977. I accepted a teaching position at Booth Memorial High School in St. John's and stayed there for 31 years, advancing eventually to the position of principal. In the interim, I completed a master's degree in education with a focus on leadership, also from Memorial University. I thoroughly enjoyed my career. I enjoyed my work, I enjoyed my colleagues, and most important of all, I enjoyed my students, of which I figure there are about 4,000 spread around this city and around the world. I laughed every day. Some days I cried, but I laughed on those days as well. In 2008, I left Booth Memorial to take a management position in leadership and instruction with Eastern School District. I retired in 2011. Mr. Speaker, I've been involved in community activities most of my life, either as a coach, in community organizations, my church, or municipal politics. I served as councillor for Ward 1 and Deputy Mayor of Conception Bay South from 1990 to 93. In 2010, I went back on council where our current Premier had been keeping my seat warm for some 9 years. Yes, Ward 1 in Conception Bay South is a great training ground for provincial politicians. When I talk about Conception Bay South, Mr. Speaker, I sometimes refer to the town and the district interchangeably. The honourable members from Harbour Main and Topsail understand that, as they also represent sections of the town. The district of Conception Bay South encompasses the majority of the population of the growing town of Conception Bay South. The town is home to over 26,000 residents, making it the largest town and second largest municipality in the province. It is one of Newfoundland and Labrador's newest towns, but made up of some of its oldest settlements. Incorporated in 1973, the town of Conception Bay South consists of 9 communities: Topsail, Chamberlains, Manuels, Long Pond, Foxtrap, Kelligrews, Upper Gullies, Lawrence Pond, and Seal Cove, most of which follow the 16 kilometres of coastline along Conception Bay. This varied coastline offers spectacular views of Kelly's Island, Little Bell Island, and Bell Island. The town of Conception Bay South has one of the warmest climates in Canada, and combined with many modern amenities, residents enjoy a lifestyle second to none in the province. The combination of urban and rural living is like no other place, and is something our residents take great pride in. From farms that have been worked for generations, to a modern-day port, to a full array of business and community services, Conception Bay South serves a dynamic population and strives to ensure that our residents have access to the modern conveniences they desire. The town has 2 high schools, 2 junior high schools, 4 primary elementary schools. The College of the North Atlantic Seal Cove campus is the college's petroleum training centre, offering entry-level and continuing education programs for the companies involved in the province's offshore petroleum industry. The town also has private institutions offering opportunities for post-secondary education. Conception Bay South prides itself on its open spaces. Starting in the East End with Topsail Beach Rotary Park, these numerous parklands follow the coastline to the west end of the town. The newest facility is Chamberlains Park, which will be fully accessible to all mobility-challenged individuals. Worsley Park, overlooking Manuels River and Conception Bay, is home to our Seniors Club. The new Manuels River Hibernia Interpretation Centre has become a destination for people who want to add natural history and a science theme to their visit to my district. In Kelligrews, a group of residents have taken upon themselves to become champions for the environment under the acronym KEEP, Kelligrews Ecological Enhancement Programme. Finally, further west, in Harbour Main District, we have a little park on the Seal Cove River called the Still. These outdoor spaces are now in the process of being connected by an 18-kilometre non-motorised walking and cycling corridor, following the route of the former rail bed through the town. Mr. Speaker, most of these outdoor spaces are drained by one or more rivers or brooks. While we have a large number of waterways flowing through Conception Bay South, there are concerns that none of their headwaters are in the town or the district. This means that the town and environmental groups in the district must be aware of developments in other jurisdictions that potentially could affect water quality in Conception Bay South. Aside from the outdoor spaces, Conception Bay South boasts a variety of recreation and sports facilities: softball fields, baseball field, rugby field, dog park, numerous playgrounds, and 2 arenas, one of which is under construction and will be open in September 2015. The town also boasts a swimming pool complex with squash courts and a lighted artificial turf soccer facility. With these facilities in place and further upgrades in the works, the town is looking forward to hosting the Newfoundland and Labrador Summer Games in 2016. Mr. Speaker, while the town of Conception Bay South is a growing, thriving municipality, it does have a major fiscal concern. That is the limited amount of large businesses in the town, and hence the limited amount of business tax revenue. In response to this concern, the town has identified 4 economic development priorities, all of which are in the district of Conception Bay South. The first of these priorities is a 40-hectare business development on Legion Road, which has been branded as the Gateway. The immediate vision for this area is a retail mix of big box, mid box, and pad retail outlets. The long-term vision for the area is to acquire additional lands to the south for the future business development opportunities. This land will have to be purchased from the Crown at market value, thus creating another fiscal challenge. The second part of the town's economic development plan is the designation of the commercial section of Route 60 from Manuel's Bridge to Terminal Road as part of the Main Street Improvement Plan. I would like to congratulate the town on having recently won the Torngat Award in Economic Development from municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador for this project. I look forward to working with the municipality on moving this business attraction and retention strategy forward. A third area that will increase economic growth in the district of Conception Bay South is the development of an industrial park on Fowler's Road. This project has been undertaken by a private enterprise and is an indication of the business community's trust that our town is about to take its rightful place as an economic destination on the Northeast Avalon. This development is over 29 hectares in size and is already well on its way to filling up. The most prominent industrial area of Conception Bay South is the Port of Long Pond, which the federal government has recently divested of to a board of directors comprised of town representatives and port users. The port houses facilities for the storage and transfer of materials. Several businesses providing marine services are located adjacent to the site. The port has a history of handling bulk commodities, for instance, feed grain, crushed rock, lumber, and road salt. Its water depth and wharf space is adequate to accommodate multiple vessels and local usage. The wharf structure is rated for heavy load capacity and has a 220-ton crane available for the loading and unloading of cargo. Long Pond is also home, Mr. Speaker, to the Royal Newfoundland Yacht Club, recognized as a world-class facility, and with over 350 memberships and 120 large yachts, it is a prominent tourist attraction and point of interest. Mr. Speaker, it is my intention as a member of the House of Assembly for Conception Bay South, in cooperation with the town, to work in cooperation with the town and help facilitate economic growth in our district. The combination of these 4 commercial priorities will go a long way in the development of our town as an economic leader in our province. Mr. Speaker, up to this point, I've spoken specifically to issues in my district. However, many issues affect not only Conception Bay South, but the province of Newfoundland and Labrador in general. As I knocked on doors during my recent by-election campaign, I picked up common threads from a provincial perspective that concern many of my constituents. These included concerns for seniors, concern over lack of openness in government, concerns regarding health care, and concerns regarding the appointment of an unelected person to Cabinet. Mr. Speaker, all of these issues have been put forward by my colleagues during this session of the House. My colleague from Virginia Waters asked a question about beds not being used in the new seniors facility in St. John's. The Leader of the Opposition showed us firsthand the degree of redacting we experienced when we requested environmental information from government regarding the Come-by-Chance refinery. The member from Burgeo-Lapoil asked government what it is doing to increase screening for diabetes in the province. And as we know, the fact that we have an unelected Minister of Justice has been referenced by several opposition members. Mr. Speaker, as the Queen's loyal opposition, we are prepared to continue asking tough questions which concern our citizens and will continue to hold government accountable for the state of our province. Mr. Speaker, I heard a clergyman preach once about the fact that we use the term awful in the wrong context. His premise was that if it is awful or full of awe, then it must be something special. Mr. Speaker, I find myself full of awe. I'm awed by the electoral process that brought me here. I'm awed by my 47 colleagues who put themselves forward as leaders in this province. I'm awed by the procedures of this honourable House, where decisions are made daily which will affect the future of the people of this province. I am awed by this physical space which was built to facilitate the operation of our government in the best interests of our citizens. But, Mr. Speaker, the piece that awes me the most is the historical piece. We were members of the 47th General Assembly of Newfoundland and Labrador. I signed my name to the scroll last month. The names of my 47 colleagues were already there. As we walked through the corridor outside the House, we passed the member rolls, showing the names from the previous General Assemblies. It's a walk through the historical record of this province, this Dominion, this colony. The first General Assembly was in 1832. This was the first time in the colony's history that the local people could vote for someone to represent them in government. Granted, only the men could vote, but I expect there would have been a very high voter turnout. The 9th General Assembly, 1865 to 1869, made a decision that would affect our history for the next 84 years, and maybe to this day. They decided not to be part of the new country that in 1867 officially became Canada. Mr. Speaker, the 23rd General Assembly, 1913-1919, dealt with the impact of the losses from the SS Newfoundland disaster and the loss of the Southern Cross in the spring of 1914. That summer, they raised an army for the British Empire and sent them overseas in October. This is the same General Assembly that would have received news from Beaumont Hamel in July of 1916. The 26th General Assembly, 1924 to 1928, passed legislation in 1925 which gave women the vote and right to seek public office. I'm sure that had they lived during that era, my colleagues from Virginia Waters and Cartwright Lancer-Clare would have stepped right up to put their names on the ballot. Mr. Speaker, I could go on with this history lesson because our province does have such a rich past when it comes to government and politics in general. However, I believe that I've made my point that the work we do here, the 48 of us, on a daily basis, will become part of the historic mosaic of this province. We still have to respond to disasters at sea. We still lose our youngest and brightest in theatres of war on foreign soil. And we still make decisions on social issues that impact large portions of our population. Mr. Speaker, let the historical records show that members of the 47th General Assembly, we, the 48 of us, made decisions that were well thought out, focused, and most importantly, in the best interest of the people who we have the great honour of representing. Thank you very much.